Chosen one, God needs you to hear this before morning comes. Before morning comes, there is a quiet space where awareness is heightened and distractions are minimal. This message exists in that space. It is not urgent, but it is timely. It does not come to alarm you, but to steady you. There are moments when understanding arrives best before the world fully wakes, before noise returns, before demands reassert themselves. For the chosen one, this is one of those moments. What needs to be heard now is not about fear or pressure. It is about alignment, reassurance, and preparation that has already been taking place beneath the surface of your life. Stay with this message until the very end. Allow it to unfold slowly and completely. Watch this video all the way through, and in the comments, share your warmest wishes and write 144 as a gentle symbol of intention and focused awareness. This is not about asking for something specific. It is about acknowledging readiness and allowing clarity to settle. Now, chosen one, press the hype button like this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's start. Before morning comes, there is often a natural pause in the rhythm of life. A pause where reflection is easier and resistance is lower. You may notice that during these hours, thoughts feel clearer and emotions are less reactive. This is not accidental. It is a window where insight can arrive without competition. What you are being invited into now is not a new direction, but a clearer understanding of the one you are already on. You may have felt recently that something is shifting, even if you could not name it. Not a dramatic change, but a subtle reorientation. Certain concerns may have lost their intensity. Certain questions may feel less urgent. This is a sign of internal adjustment. Adjustment happens quietly. It does not announce itself. It prepares you to receive understanding without force. This message is not asking you to do more. It is asking you to recognize what has already been done within you. Growth that happens internally often goes unnoticed until a moment of stillness reveals it. Before morning comes, you are given that stillness. In it, you may realize that you are not as uncertain as you once were. You are not as fragmented. You are more coherent. You may also notice that your relationship with effort has changed. You are less inclined to push against circumstances and more inclined to respond thoughtfully. This responsiveness is not passivity. It is discernment. Discernment allows you to conserve energy and apply it where it matters. The chosen one understands that not every situation requires intervention. Some require observation. Before morning comes, it is important to release the idea that clarity must arrive with intensity. Often, clarity arrives as calm. Calm that does not excite or alarm, but steadies. This steadiness allows you to carry understanding forward into the day without losing it to distraction. What you understand now is meant to support you later. You may feel a quiet reassurance forming. Not reassurance that everything will be easy, but reassurance that you are capable of meeting what unfolds. This confidence does not come from prediction. It comes from experience. You have navigated complexity before. You have adjusted. You have endured uncertainty and emerged with greater awareness. That awareness is active now. This moment is also an invitation to trust timing. Not everything needs to be resolved before the day begins. Some things are meant to be carried gently into action. When understanding arrives before morning, it often serves as orientation rather than instruction. Orientation helps you move accurately without needing constant guidance. You may notice that certain fears no longer feel convincing. They may still appear, but they lack force. This is another sign of growth. Fear loses influence when awareness expands. You are not required to eliminate fear. You are only required to recognize when it no longer governs your choices. Before morning comes, there is space to acknowledge how far you have come without measuring it. Progress does not always show itself through achievement. Sometimes it shows itself through reduced resistance, clearer boundaries, and calmer responses. These changes are foundational. They support everything that follows. This first part is about recognition. Recognition that you are not waiting for understanding to arrive. It is already here. Recognition that this moment is not meant to overwhelm you, but to orient you. From here, the message will continue to unfold, each next part deepening clarity, reinforcing steadiness, and guiding you gently into the day with awareness that remains intact, even as the world wakes and movement resumes. As this awareness continues to settle, the chosen one may begin to notice that what is being communicated now is not a warning, but a reminder. A reminder of who you are when you are not reacting, not rushing, and not carrying unnecessary weight. Before morning comes, there is an opportunity to reconnect with that steadier version of yourself, the one that does not need constant reassurance to move forward. In this phase, you may realize that much of what once felt uncertain has already begun to resolve internally, not through answers, but through acceptance. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It means clarity about what is within your control and what is not. This clarity reduces internal conflict. When conflict reduces, energy becomes available for purposeful movement. The chosen one understands that peace is not the absence of challenge, but the presence of perspective. You may also sense that your thoughts are arranging themselves differently. Instead of looping or pressing for resolution, they arrive and pass more easily. This mental fluidity allows insight to surface without effort. Insight that arrives this way tends to stay. It becomes part of how you interpret situations rather than something you must remember consciously. There is often a softening of self-judgment during this stage. You are less inclined to review past decisions with harshness. You recognize that every step you took brought you here, to a place of greater coherence. This recognition releases tension that has been carried quietly for a long time. Releasing that tension allows you to face the day with less internal resistance. Before morning comes, there is also space to notice what no longer fits. Certain expectations, obligations, or emotional patterns may feel less relevant. This is not loss. It is refinement. Refinement happens when growth reaches a point where excess naturally falls away. The chosen one allows this process to occur without forcing it. You may feel a renewed sense of trust in your ability to respond rather than predict. You are not required to know how everything will unfold. You are only required to remain attentive and grounded. This trust reduces anxiety and supports clear engagement with what is present. When trust is active, anticipation loosens its grip. Emotionally, this phase often brings a sense of calm alertness. You are awake, but not tense. Open, but not exposed. This balance allows you to carry understanding into action without distortion. What you receive now is meant to support you as the day begins, not to distract you from it. You may also notice that your sense of timing feels more accurate. You are less pressured by urgency and more guided by readiness. This guidance helps you decide when to speak, when to act, and when to wait. The chosen one recognizes that timing often matters more than speed. As this second part unfolds, allow yourself to remain receptive without expectation. Nothing is being demanded of you in this moment. What is being offered is orientation. Orientation toward steadiness, clarity, and trust in what has already been forming within you. This phase emphasizes reassurance without complacency and awareness without pressure. From here, the message will continue to unfold, guiding you deeper into understanding how what you carry into the morning shapes how the day meets you, and why hearing this now allows you to move forward with greater ease, confidence, and quiet alignment. As this understanding deepens, the chosen one may begin to recognize that what is being heard now is meant to recalibrate focus rather than introduce something new. Before morning comes, the emphasis is not on change, but on clarity. Clarity about what deserves your attention and what no longer needs to occupy space. This recalibration is subtle, yet it has a lasting effect on how you move through the day ahead. In this phase, you may notice that your sense of urgency has softened. Tasks, conversations, and decisions still matter, but they no longer feel pressing in the same way. This shift does not reduce responsibility. It refines it. You become more precise about where effort belongs. Precision prevents exhaustion. The chosen one understands that sustained progress depends on directed energy, not constant motion. You may also sense that your emotional responses feel more proportionate. Situations that once triggered immediate reaction now invite consideration. This pause creates room for discernment. Discernment allows you to respond in ways that preserve alignment, rather than escalate tension. What is heard before morning comes is meant to support this pause throughout the day. There is often a strengthening of inner trust during this stage. You trust your capacity to handle what arises without rehearsing outcomes. This trust reduces the need to control variables in advance. Control loosens, and with it, unnecessary strain. The chosen one recognizes that trust is not passive. It is an active confidence in your ability to adapt. You may notice that your internal dialogue becomes more supportive. Instead of questioning your readiness, you acknowledge it. Instead of anticipating difficulty, you recognize capability. This shift in self-talk alters how challenges are perceived. Challenges become manageable rather than intimidating. This perception supports steady engagement. Before morning comes, there is also an invitation to recognize the difference between awareness and overthinking. Awareness observes without judgment. Overthinking attempts to resolve what is not yet present. You are being guided toward awareness. Awareness keeps you grounded in what is real and actionable. Overthinking disperses energy. Emotionally, this phase may feel quietly reassuring, not because everything is known, but because you feel equipped to listen, adjust, and respond. This sense of equipment is internal. It does not rely on external confirmation. The chosen one carries this assurance forward without needing to name it. You may also become more attuned to subtle cues throughout the day. Tone, timing, and context become clearer. This attunement allows you to navigate interactions with greater ease. When you are attentive, fewer corrections are needed later. Attention now saves effort later. As this third part unfolds, allow the message to continue working beneath conscious thought. You do not need to hold on to every idea. What is meant to stay will integrate naturally. What is not needed will fall away without effort. This phase emphasizes recalibration, trust, and emotional proportion. From here, the message will continue to unfold, guiding you further into how early awareness shapes the flow of the day, how steadiness replaces urgency, and why hearing this before morning comes allows you to meet what follows with clarity that remains intact as activity increases. As this awareness continues to unfold, the chosen one may begin to sense that what is being established now is a deeper sense of orientation rather than instruction. Before morning comes, you are not being told what to do. You are being reminded how to move. This distinction matters. Movement guided by orientation remains flexible, while movement driven by instruction can become rigid. What you are receiving now supports adaptability throughout the day. In this phase, you may notice that your attention naturally returns to what feels essential. Distractions lose their pull. You are less tempted to react to every stimulus or demand immediate resolution. This narrowing of focus is not limitation. It is refinement. Refinement protects energy and ensures that what matters receives full presence. The chosen one understands that focus preserved early shapes the tone of everything that follows. You may also recognize that your emotional center feels more accessible. When something unsettles you, it does not linger as long. You recover more quickly. This resilience is not forced. It reflects internal stability that has been developing quietly. Stability allows you to engage with complexity without becoming overwhelmed by it. Before morning comes, there is often clarity around boundaries. You sense when to engage and when to step back. These boundaries do not feel defensive. They feel natural. Natural boundaries preserve alignment without creating distance. The chosen one knows that boundaries grounded in self-awareness require no explanation. You may also feel a subtle increase in patience, not patience as waiting, but patience as tolerance for process. You allow situations to unfold without trying to control every outcome. This tolerance reduces friction and keeps interactions smoother. When patience leads, cooperation becomes easier. Emotionally, this stage may bring a sense of steadiness that remains even as activity increases. You are not bracing for the day. You are entering it prepared but relaxed. This relaxed preparedness allows you to respond accurately without becoming rigid. Accuracy comes from presence, not tension. You may also notice that your sense of self remains consistent across different environments. You do not shift who you are to meet expectations. This consistency preserves integrity. Integrity supports trust in yourself and in how you navigate interactions. The chosen one recognizes integrity as a quiet form of strength. As this part unfolds, you may realize that the message is not something you carry consciously throughout the day. It becomes part of how you move, how you listen, and how you respond. Integration has begun. When understanding integrates, it no longer needs to be remembered. This phase emphasizes orientation, focus, and resilience. From here, the message will continue to unfold, guiding you deeper into how early steadiness supports sustained clarity, how boundaries preserve energy, and why what you hear before morning comes continues to support you long after the day has begun. As this message continues to settle, the chosen one may begin to recognize that the steadiness you feel is not temporary. It is not tied to this moment alone. It reflects a deeper alignment that has been forming over time. Before morning comes, that alignment becomes more noticeable because there is less interference. You are able to sense what is stable beneath activity, beneath responsibility, beneath expectation. In this phase, you may notice that your relationship with effort feels different. You are no longer pushing yourself forward through tension. Action feels cleaner, more deliberate. When effort is applied, it is applied with intention rather than urgency. This shift preserves strength and prevents depletion. The chosen one understands that sustainable momentum is built through consistency, not force. You may also sense a clearer distinction between what requires your attention and what does not. Some concerns that once felt important now feel peripheral. This is not neglect. It is prioritization. Prioritization allows you to remain effective without being consumed. When priorities are clear, decision-making becomes simpler. Emotionally, this stage often brings a sense of quiet confidence. Not confidence that seeks confirmation, but confidence that rests in capability. You are not questioning whether you can meet the day. You already know you can. This knowing reduces anxiety before it has a chance to form. The chosen one carries this assurance forward naturally. Before morning comes, you may also realize that your inner dialogue has become more measured. There is less self-correction and less internal debate. You are not negotiating with yourself about every choice. This mental ease allows you to respond fluidly when situations arise. Fluid response maintains alignment without rigidity. You may notice that your patience extends to yourself as well as others. You allow yourself to move at a pace that matches your capacity. You are not rushing to prove anything or holding back out of fear. This balance supports clarity and protects emotional health. The chosen one values this balance because it sustains growth. This phase also highlights how much trust you now place in timing. You are less inclined to intervene prematurely. You recognize when to wait and when to act. This sensitivity to timing reduces missteps and preserves momentum. When timing is respected, outcomes align more easily. As this fifth part unfolds, allow the sense of steadiness to remain without trying to define it. What you are experiencing does not need explanation. It is meant to accompany you quietly into the day. What integrates before morning comes continues to support you after activity begins. This phase emphasizes sustainable effort, clear priority, and inner confidence. From here, the message will continue to unfold, guiding you toward deeper trust in your rhythm, greater ease in engagement, and a sense of preparedness that remains intact no matter how the day unfolds. As this final phase completes its integration, the chosen one may begin to notice that the message no longer feels like something you are receiving, but something you are carrying naturally. Before morning comes, understanding has already settled into posture, tone, and awareness. You are not holding instructions in mind. You are moving from orientation. This is the clearest sign that readiness has become embodied. In this stage, there is a quiet confidence in how you meet the day. You are not bracing for difficulty, nor are you expecting ease. You are prepared for engagement as it unfolds. This neutrality keeps perception accurate. When perception is accurate, response becomes appropriate without effort. The chosen one understands that true preparedness removes the need for mental rehearsal. You may notice that challenges, if they arise, feel manageable rather than disruptive. You do not experience them as interruptions to balance, but as part of participation. This perspective prevents emotional escalation. Escalation drains energy. Participation preserves it. When you engage without resistance, momentum remains steady. Emotionally, there is a sense of completion without closure. Nothing feels unfinished, yet nothing feels final. You are not arriving at an ending. You are stepping into continuation with greater clarity. This sense of continuation allows you to move forward without carrying anticipation or concern. What is needed will meet you as it arrives. You may also observe that your trust in yourself feels quieter and more stable. It does not fluctuate with outcome or feedback. It is rooted in experience. Experience teaches that you can adjust, recover, and proceed without losing alignment. This trust remains intact regardless of circumstance. Before morning fully arrives, there is often a final moment of stillness. In that stillness, you may recognize that nothing needs to be added to who you are right now. You are not missing information. You are not behind. You are exactly where awareness can be carried forward intact. This recognition removes unnecessary pressure. As this sequence completes, the message does not end. It dissolves into how you move, how you listen, and how you respond. What was needed has been heard. What was meant to settle has settled. There is nothing to accelerate and nothing to restrain. Movement continues at a pace that matches capacity. What unfolds next will do so guided by clarity rather than urgency. And from this place of quiet readiness, the chosen one enters the morning grounded and steady, aware that what needed to be heard was not meant to alarm or instruct, but to remind you of your alignment, your capacity, and your ability to meet the day with calm authority and sustained awareness, fully prepared for whatever follows. As this final reflection unfolds, the chosen one may begin to sense that the transition into morning does not dilute what has settled, but confirms it. The clarity you carry does not fade as activity increases. It remains present, steady, beneath motion. This is how you know the message has integrated. It was not meant to stay in stillness. It was meant to move with you. In this stage, your awareness feels anchored rather than alert. You are attentive without being tense. You notice what matters without scanning for threat or opportunity. This grounded attention allows you to engage fully with what is in front of you. The chosen one understands that true awareness is calm, not vigilant. You may also recognize that your confidence no longer depends on how the day unfolds. Whether things move smoothly or require adjustment, your inner position remains unchanged. This stability reduces emotional fluctuation and preserves focus. When inner position is stable, external variability loses influence. There is a quiet competence in how you respond now. You do not second-guess your instincts or over-explain your choices. You act when action is appropriate and pause when it is not. This discernment keeps your energy aligned with intention rather than reaction. The chosen one values discernment because it sustains clarity under pressure. Emotionally, you may feel a subtle sense of reassurance without narrative. You are not telling yourself that things will be fine. You simply feel capable. This capability is not imagined. It is based on experience and integration. What has been built internally is now supporting you without effort. You may notice that interactions throughout the day feel less charged. You are not absorbing tension or projecting urgency. You remain present and measured. This presence often influences the environment around you, creating space for calmer exchange. The chosen one recognizes that steadiness is contagious. As this part completes, there is a sense that nothing more needs to be said or added. The message has fulfilled its purpose. It has oriented you without instruction and steadied you without demand. What remains is continuation. There is no separation between what you heard before morning and how you live after it. Awareness carries forward seamlessly. Movement remains coherent. Response remains measured. And from this place of sustained alignment, the chosen one continues through the day and beyond, grounded, attentive, and self-led, aware that what was needed was not urgency or warning, but quiet confirmation of readiness, clarity, and the ability to move forward without strain, distraction, or doubt. As this final layer settles fully, the chosen one may begin to recognize that what was heard before morning has now become indistinguishable from your natural state. It no longer feels like guidance received at a specific moment. It feels like continuity restored. You are not carrying a message forward consciously. You are living from it. This is the clearest sign that integration is complete. In this stage, awareness feels effortless. You are not monitoring yourself for alignment or checking whether you are responding correctly. Correctness has given way to coherence. Your thoughts, actions, and reactions move together without friction. When coherence is present, there is no need for self-correction. The chosen one understands that coherence is alignment expressed through ease. You may notice that your relationship with outcomes has softened. You care about results, but you are no longer emotionally dependent on how or when they appear. This detachment is not indifference. It is trust in process. Trust allows you to remain engaged without becoming strained. When trust is active, patience becomes natural. Emotionally, there is a quiet steadiness that does not fluctuate with circumstance. You are not lifted excessively by success or unsettled by delay. Your center remains intact. This emotional consistency supports sound judgment and protects energy. The chosen one recognizes that emotional stability is one of the most valuable forms of readiness. You may also sense that your intuition feels clearer and less dramatic. It does not announce itself loudly. It simply guides. This subtle guidance keeps you oriented without demanding attention. When intuition operates this way, it becomes reliable rather than reactive. There is also a deeper ease in how you relate to responsibility. You do not feel weighed down by what you carry, nor do you minimize it. You meet responsibility with proportion. Proportion keeps effort sustainable and prevents burnout. The chosen one values proportion because it allows long-term consistency. As this part completes, you may realize that nothing more is expected of you in this moment. You are not required to act differently, think differently, or prove anything. What needed to shift has already shifted. What needed to settle has settled. This recognition brings a sense of quiet completion without finality. There is nothing left to prepare for and nothing left to resolve. Movement continues naturally. Awareness remains steady. Response remains accurate. And from this place of full integration, the chosen one moves forward unburdened, carrying clarity without effort, trust without tension, and readiness without urgency. Aware that what was needed before morning came has already fulfilled its purpose, leaving behind not instruction, but alignment that endures quietly through whatever comes next. As this final reflection completes, the chosen one may sense that the distinction between preparation and living has disappeared. What once felt like a message received has become a way of being. There is no transition left to manage, no awareness to hold deliberately. You are simply moving forward from a place that is already settled. This is not momentum driven by effort. It is continuity sustained by alignment. In this stage, you may notice that your sense of self feels quietly affirmed, not reinforced by events or outcomes, but grounded in consistency. You are not checking in with yourself to see if you are still steady. Steadiness has become implicit. This implicit steadiness allows you to engage fully without distraction or self-monitoring. The chosen one understands that when steadiness becomes implicit, attention is freed for what truly matters. You may also recognize that your perception of time has softened. You are no longer measuring progress by hours, days, or milestones. Progress is felt through coherence, ease, and the absence of internal resistance. This shift removes pressure and replaces it with presence. Presence ensures that what unfolds is met accurately rather than hurriedly. Emotionally, there is a calm completeness, not closure, but wholeness. Nothing feels unfinished or unresolved. You are not anticipating a moment that will confirm readiness. Readiness has already been confirmed through how naturally you are moving. This emotional completeness supports resilience and keeps your center intact. This emotional completeness creates a quiet strength. It allows you to remain steady without effort, responsive without strain. From this center, movement continues smoothly, supported by self-trust rather than reassurance.